Hi everyone, I'm AKMAL and my group consisting of Samuel, Phone, BERVYN and myself will be discussing Michel Foucault. Foucault was a French philosopher in the 20th century and is known for his works challenging and analyzing structures of knowledge, power, and institutions from the past to the present age. In his essay Of Other Spaces, he claims that utopias exist beyond our reality, while heterotopias exist in our world and contain worlds within itself. He then went on to introduce the principles of heterotopias, consisting of elements of space, time, and culture. Here are 5 key ideas that we wish to discuss. First idea we'd like to discuss is the formula of the relationship between spaces and pose the question of why some are natural while others are not. Foucault said that as history unfolds, the functions of heterotopia changes and correlates to the defining culture of the moment. In other words, the nature of relationships between spaces is determined by the people who view it. In the past, bodies of the dead were located near the center of public life, serving to reflect their relative importance. The shift of cemeteries from the center to the margins of our cities reflects an increasingly anxious attitude of modern people towards death. Nonetheless, although the way cemeteries are portrayed can vary between cultures and between points in time, core ideas of respect and serenity remain. Secondly, we look into Foucault's viewpoint on the incompatibility of different spaces. Foucault used the example of Persian gardens and the carpet symbolism to highlight the juxtaposing idea of disproportion between the garden and the world it aims to reflect, and the superimposed imagery of the garden into the scale of a carpet, which supposedly reflects the world in its entirety. The transdimensional illustration of this ideal proposes the disjointedness of the separate realms that come together to somehow make perfect sense. On the other hand, despite being entirely plausible, one will never find an amusement park next to a prison complex. This law goes beyond the simple understanding of logic or narrative continuity, but that the heterotopia of different spaces has to be coherent with prevailing human behavior. Next, we look into the properties of Foucault's arrangement of time and space and what it reflects about modern society. He proposed that heterotopias arrange time and space by breaking the conventional flow of time in order to bring together elements from the past, present, and future. While a cemetery arranges the passing of time, a museum or a library arranges the accumulation of time. A more pressing observation is that the current epoch is one of simultaneity and juxtaposition. This perhaps came to be with recent rapid technological advancements that allow us to travel through space and time at an unprecedented pace using our devices while being completely sedentary. Perhaps we are too exposed to too much information too quickly that this phenomena forces a fresh new lens beyond Foucault's original diagnosis. The fourth idea is about the permanence and impermanence of architecture and space. Foucault illustrates the idea of the exclusivity of heterotopias with manners of entry and exits. Physical space or architecture that allows an event to take place may manifest itself in a physical form, alluding the user towards the suggestion of permanence, but is an intentional guise that hides the true nature of the event or experience, which is fleeting and only temporary. A cemetery may warrant entry through iron gates, and a festival may employ hefty decorations to catch the eye of the public. In either case, they can only truly generate the intended catharsis through the transient and exclusive nature of the experience. After discussing these ideas, the question of what next comes about. What is Foucault's intention of breaking down the nature of spaces? Foucault talked about his interest in places with curious properties in a way that suspects, neutralize, or invent the set of relations that they happen to designate. Heterotopias consist of opposing properties and are influenced by time, space, and culture, and while it is easy to acknowledge their dominant function, we can only truly appreciate their intrinsic value by diving deeper into a multitude of factors that allow such a phenomena across cultures throughout history. There is great potential in understanding what qualities can be derived from the seemingly mundane and what can impact one's design to possess the desired qualities of a heterotopia. In conclusion, Foucault has expounded on what makes spaces natural, incompatible, explored their temporal and exclusive qualities, and in doing so, elevates our understanding of not just physical space, but of the times we live in. While extremely critical in architectural thought, in a broader arena, Foucault also urges one to be critical of larger society and cognizant of forces that shape our everyday actions, which is especially poignant in the present age of limitless connectivity and the accompanying vulnerability brought by the onslaught of COVID, which further brought us into an age of perpetual change and uncertainty.